What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another fantasy booking edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, joined as always by Callum Wiggins.
Pressure's off.
Rob D. Felice.
Hello.
And this is our follow-up to the mock draft that we had done previously, which means that this is a matchmaker edition. Look at all these graphics I'm cycling around on screen. Let me go back to the fantasy booking one. That's the general term. If you don't know what any of this stuff is, fantasy booking is our fan fiction side of things. It's all kind of a collective umbrella term there, but the mock draft and the matchmaker stuff and all that, that's when you get a little bit more specific and granular. The idea being we're going to flex our creative muscles and all that stuff. And this is a follow-up to the mock draft that we had done last week, which was a randomizer of a bunch of different generations. We had 1986, 1996, 2006, 2016, and 2026 rosters to pick from. We had 5 different wheels that Callum had set up ahead of time. We all randomized our rosters. Rob got very fucking lucky. Callum and I, not so much. And now it is the matchmaker side of things, which means we have our rosters and we need to figure out what to do with those rosters. You know, how can we actually create the best pay-per-view card that we can think of with all the people that we were given an option to play around with and all. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be showing you what we have for our fantasy booking cards and everything like that. And as we go along here, we always want to know what you guys have to say. So give us your reactions in the comment section below or wherever it is that you're listening to us on there. Chat it up on the Discord server as well if you want to hop on over to that side of things. We got a bunch of different channels that I'm still perpetually adding a little bit more information to. You know, we got some little fun gimmicky things going on right now. We got some XP levels for people. And even to the point now where the however bell is mixed in there. So if anybody throws the word however into one of the things, it's going to get an auto reaction of the little bell and stupid things like that. Looking for more options to play around with that too. But, you know, that'll come in due time. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, ring your notification bell, get your email alerts set up for the live shows that we've been doing quite a bit more of recently. And I don't know exactly when we're going to do the next one, but we got plenty pay-per-views coming up in 2 weeks. So we're going to do some post shows for those at the very least. Maybe live predictions for those since people have been enjoying that a little bit. Whatever it is, you know how to do all the good stuff on YouTube. You know what to do. I mean, you've seen plenty of other channels and stuff. So share your support whatever way you can. Patreon is a great way to do that too. YouTube channel membership as well. Thanks button, super chats, all that good stuff. Redbubble and TeePublic for merchandise, which I actually cleaned out all my backup, or not all my, but a lot of my backup files the other day for old merchandise that I was just like, yeah, nobody's ever going to buy this again. And I'm never going to need to sort out, you know, like, oh, I got to make sure I have the original PSD for this file. Screw that. If you got any suggestions of merch you'd like to see, let me know too. And yeah, let's continue on with this whole fantasy booking thing. So as I said before, fantasy booking is the overall term. So we are doing this as like an imaginary card thing. We had our mock draft. So we have our rosters all sorted out, which I can show you up on the screen right now if you're watching on the YouTube side of things, was this breakdown for our rosters. Callum in the green there, Rob in the red, Tony in the blue. And out of the rosters, I still think that mine was the worst. So I think that I should go first, and I think that Callum should go second, and we should build up to Rob, because Rob does have pretty definitively the most main eventers and all, and the most pressure on him to have the biggest and best card.
Yes,
oh, no.
it all leads to Rob, and if Rob doesn't deliver, then it's all going to be for nothing, really, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
We're going to put the pressure on you. So I will switch my screen off from the screen share to not just spoil what the whole card is. And eventually when, you know, we switch back around, I'll show that to everybody. But I'll explain the card in match order and all that good stuff, and then come back around to it later. So if you're on YouTube, just be patient when it comes to the visuals. Although it's not like it's going to be that particularly great to be like, oh, look at that. And then I saw a spreadsheet. Wow. You know, we don't have the 2K footage or anything like that. You know, if we had more funds and stuff, maybe we would, but yeah, it's a different story. So I did not give a name to this event. It's a 2-night event because we still had enough people to split it up into 2 nights. But the, if this WrestleMania or if this whatever, I didn't really bother with that because I don't feel like this would necessarily be WrestleMania. Although we've had, honestly, worse WrestleManias in the past than this, I'll admit. And I did find myself very quickly, based off of my roster, going, all right, once I sorted out all the tag teams, because I was very tag team heavy, suddenly half the card kind of sorted itself out a little bit. But there were some surprises as along the way that I was just like, you know what, if I paired these people up in this way, that could be kind of fun or whatever. So I don't hate my card as much as I thought that I would. But I'm still going to put a little bit of a preference there of, this is not my favorite card that I've ever created. So whatever this is going to be, I don't know, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Super Slam instead, because it's a knockoff or something, Summerfest, whatever it might be. We're going to start off with a tag team match between Fraxium and Bamf, Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake. I'm not pairing Lex Bliss with them. I did not figure out like a mixed tag 3-way thing or something. But, Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake, they weren't my favorite characters. Neither are Axiom and Nathan Fraser. But I think if you start off an event with those 2 tag teams going at it, they could have some kind of frenetic energy, some high-paced action. I think Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake against Axiom and Nathan Fraser would be a fine enough opening match. Murphy and Blake are the heels, obviously.
Right off the bat, I'm going to say, that's a match I would like to see. That's a match. If we were doing NXT generations and these 2 teams happen to land in my lap, I'd consider it.
It'd be one of those sleeper matches that you were like, oh shit, these guys actually were like, let's put out a good show, and they're talented. They could kill it. And I'm starting off with Axiom and Nathan Fraser getting the win. Just, get a nice pop with something fun that they do, some flippy thing or something. Wesley Blake takes the pin, most likely, because let's be honest, he probably would. Now here's already in the second match, my first, you could go one way or it could go the other way. So, little asterisk. This is either Bruno Sammartino against Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog, or my preferred option, Bruno Sammartino against Grayson Waller. Not of oh wow, what a great match either of those would be. But I could not think of anything to do with Bruno that I honestly was interested in, to be perfectly honest. I thought about putting him with Harley Race, and then I was just like, I wouldn't care. I thought about Bruno being a part of a multi-man thing. I couldn't figure out where he would fit with anybody and all. And there are spots with the Grayson Waller and Davey Boy Smith side of it that I like and I don't like. So it's kind of, if anything, trying to find out where Bulldog went was also another hard thing, which shouldn't be the case. But I do have 2 other options when it comes to him. So I think more than likely, based off of the way that this card is structured with the other things, I probably would kind of default to Bruno Sammartino versus British Bulldog. And Bruno's babyface, whoever between Bulldog and Grayson Waller, they're going to play the heel for it. I don't really know what the story would be. Maybe just Bruno's a fighter, usual guy, and Grayson Waller's an asshole, and Davey Boy's a potential mid-carder that's up against him or something. But Bruno wins against either of those, and he's just one of those semi-upper mid-card types that could be in the running for a mid-card title, could be in the running for the main event thing. I'm not a big Bruno Sammartino fan, so I don't really care. Selling on it, right?
I'd definitely go for Davey Boy out of the 2 options that you presented. I know at this point in time, if we're going by the era in which he was selected, this was right at the very back end of Bruno's in-ring wrestling career. Because I think he wrestled in WrestleMania 1, he had that tag team match with David Sammartino, which certainly out of the two of them, you'd probably be happier booking Bruno than David.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go with Davey Boy Smith because Bruno had a reputation for fighting like even though he was, he's very much the Italian living in New York, so I can't really say he's like a foreign star, even though like that's kind of, he immigrated over to there from Italy. So, but I think that you play Davey Boy Smith as like not like the traditional foreign heel, but could take elements of that.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm thinking if it was just a Bruno Santana match and you held it in Madison Square Garden, that the match would end when Davey Boy Smith clotheslined Bruno over the top rope, because that would be illegal in the days that Bruno was wrestling.
And I could see a scenario where it's like Bruno is booked as more of the elder statesman, and like Waller, if he was in that spot. Although I like Waller better in a different spot that I'll explain in 2 matches. If it was the Waller side of it, it could be like, okay, he's the cocky heel that's like picks a fight with the the veteran, and then Bruno just humbles him or something. But Bruno against Davey Boy, 2 of like the burlier type guys or whatever, and Davey Boy just eats a loss, whatever it might be. Not my favorite match of the card. Probably my least favorite thing that I just couldn't figure out what to do. Then we got a this is not labeled correctly, so women's singles match. Not a women's hardcore match, but a women's singles match between Layla L and Thea Hale. Basically, heel Layla being a bitch, babyface Thea being a babyface, and it gave 2 babyfaces a win here, so Layla gets the win over Thea. Not going to be the best match in the world, but they could pull it off enough to be a fine enough 3rd match. People going to take a bathroom break if they want to. People can be invested if it's super great. You can play around with it depending on the. There's more important women's matches on this card. That's for sure.
It certainly has the.
I like that even in fantasy, you're just like, you can go piss if you want. Like,
I try to book the cards with the idea of like every 3 matches or so that there's something that you could take as like, maybe if you needed to go to the bathroom, you might run to do that real quick. For somebody who doesn't do that, like I never leave a movie to go to the bathroom. I don't remember the last time I was at like any kind of an event and was like, oh, I need to, hit up the restroom or something like that. But I try to book that with everybody else in mind. As if this is happening. True, that's the other thing. Nobody cares. You don't have to book that in there. Well, the sponsors are going to want to have an advertisement in the middle of this. No, they're not. Who gives a shit?
I kind of feel this match could be quite like just irritating to watch, just for the participants involved, because I kind of find Thea Hale a bit of an irritant. Like, and Layla used to like just she would, especially when she was doing Lay Cool thing, was kind of pretty annoying. They were both pretty annoying, but that was the gimmick. Whereas Thea is just naturally annoying.
Thea Hale, a bit of an irritant. That's classic. Yeah, I mean that's standard.
I don't know what's more
stuff.
irritating, Thea Hale or actual Hale.
It depends on if you're out in it, right? I like Thea. I think she's she's spunky, and this would be very much a the spunky younger baby face that you are like, depending on this is I got her from 2026, I think. So yeah, I mean I would have had to, because she wouldn't have been 2016.
Certainly didn't get her for 20.
Yeah, what the hell am I thinking? She would have been like 9 years old then or something. But 2026,
and arguably less irritating.
I don't know. I mean, kids are annoying. So. 2026 Thea Hale's she's grown up, she's had her first kiss, she's done all the other things that they bother to tell with her story in WWE. But yeah, Layla beats her, and moving on, we got a 10-man tag team match. I always like to put something along those lines in there, and not at all surprising, how does Tony book his 10-man tag team matches? It's the same thing every fucking time.
Now, if they're women, it's goth alt chicks versus cool chicks. If they're not, it's foreigners versus Americans.
Not quite. I didn't do the foreigner versus American. I did the other alternative. I did the group of the cocky douchebags against the group of the somewhat lovable, less either like the poorer or the underdogs or whatever things. So we've got the Bushwhackers, Hillbilly Jim, and the Godwins. You could either call them the Slop Squad, or you can call them the Country Cousins. Either one I liked. Couldn't decide between the two of them.
I call this the bathroom break.
Yeah, this could be the other. Well, see, it's match number 4. So between that match 3 and match 4, but you got the Bushwhackers, the Godwins, and Hillbilly Jim against what I'm calling the Model Citizens, the Body Donnas, Paul Roma, the Model Rick Martel, and that's where I throw Grayson Waller in. Davey Boy, I was like, Davey Boy didn't really fit in there, whatever. But even still, Davey Boy could have a slight gimmick change and be like, look at all my muscles. And then you got the Body Donnas and Paul Roma and Rick Martel next to him. It's, we're the fit, great looking dudes all, I don't think that Body Donnas are good looking, but you know what I mean? They got that side of things versus these country bumpkins, essentially. Country bumpkins could be the name of their thing too. That could have been another option. But I kind of like Grayson Waller in that spot, and the Body Donnas and Paul Roma and the Model Rick Martel. Roma and Martel were a part of the Visionaries on Survivor Series with Warlord,
Hercules.
Hercules was the other one? And Slick.
Four-man? Yeah, it was just 4-man, so it's Warlord and Hercules.
Yeah, so, I think it fits even better when you have the Body Donnas with Paul Roma and Rick Martel rather than fucking Warlord. And I'm going to give the Model Citizens the win. Give the heels because that's the Bushwhackers and the Godwins and Hillbilly Jim. One of the Bushwhackers is taking a pin.
Obviously not gonna spoil too much, but I have a very similar booked match.
Yeah.
On my card.
I think I hold it for mine as well. Probably.
That's so funny. Let me have, which I found this funny. Since I was complaining when I had gotten B. Brian Blair, and I complained when I got Jim Brunzell, it was like, well, the Killer Bees are going to be the Killer Bees. I'm not going to put them in on some other kind of spot. So, Killer Bees up against Bo Dallas and Kit Wilson, aka Unbelievably Deadly.
You're toxic.
And Unbelievably Deadly definitely wins.
Not Unbelievably Pretty.
That could be two. Yeah.
I didn't know which one. I didn't know which one was pretty and which one was deadly out of that tag team.
I think probably Bo Dallas would be the more deadly of the two, but then again, Unbelievably Pretty works really well. I'm gonna, for posterity's sake, I'm gonna put /pretty on there because I like that idea too. Unbelievably Pretty or Unbelievably Deadly. One of the options was to put those two in with the Model Citizens thing. One of those options was to do Bo Dallas in some kind of like, I'm the kid of Rotunda, and put him up against one of the old timer guys or something. And I was like, really, do I want to do a singles match with Bo Dallas against like Bruno or whatever? No, I don't think so. So when the gimmicky Bo Dallas and Kit Wilson thing, I was like, well, Killer Bees, I'm not going to give a fucking great match to Killer Bees. So, Bo Dallas and Kit Wilson beat the Killer Bees.
How about you do something where it's unbelievably pretty when it's Bo Dallas and Kit Wilson, but it's unbelievably deadly when it's Kit Wilson
Howdy.
and Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, I like that idea. Unbelievably pretty deadly.
Because then you could do something where Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy and Kit Wilson is Aunt Mavis or something.
Aunt Mavis.
Book it, WWE. Maybe Aunt Abigail to fit more into the Wyatt.
Auntie Abigail.
Yeah.
So Killer Bees taking a loss there, and
given his region, does that make him Downtown Abbey?
See, there's so much fun you can do with this, and then WWE is like, we'll
Uncle
have
Howdy in Downtown Abbey. That'd be great.
Now we have the Wuthering Heights match. No, I'm just kidding.
God.
We're getting the gimmick that I've always said that I try to do. I do not like having just the United States Championship, so I typically end up calling it the National Championship. And it's a national/United States title because these two people are both from the United States. So a babyface, Bob Backlund, up against a heel champion, John Bradshaw Layfield. Again, neither of those two would be people that I would pick on a manual draft. I'm not ever going to be like, remember that great Bob Backlund match against so-and-so? If somebody says, like, remember a Bob Backlund match? I'm like, oh, wait, was that when he beat Brett or when he lost to Diesel? That's my idea of Bob Backlund. And JBL's JBL. I mean, obviously, great character work. And then once the bell rings, then, you know, it's not quite the same thing. Not my favorite in the ring. But JBL, of course, gets the win over Bob Backlund by some kind of heel shenanigans. Champion retains.
So, a missed opportunity here to have Backlund as JBL's campaign manager, as they both kind of did a running for president bit. But I could see a world where this would be fun for me. I don't know if it'd be fun for too many people.
I did think about Bob Backlund and JBL teaming, and then I was like trying to figure out if they would go up against maybe Bruno and somebody, because I was stuck with Bruno quite a bit, but I couldn't think about if it was JBL and Backlund against Bruno and somebody, who would that be? Or if it was JBL and somebody against Backlund and San Martino. And then I was like, well, then it's just another tag team match. And I've got a lot of tag team matches on here too. So I figured I would just split it up. And, you know, Bob Backlund, you know, I'm fighting for this side of the United States. JBL, I'm fighting for that side of the United States. Hopefully in a world where neither of them are MAGA. You know, where it's like a respectable Republican and a respectable Democrat kind of side of things or something. But JBL, US champion, keep the belt on him. And we're also going to keep the belts on the tag team champions, the Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, who are up against the Creed brothers. I see no reason why that match wouldn't be good.
Yeah, again, it's similar to your first match. If you give me an Ultimate NXT card and I land with these teams, there's a world where I might just do this because I had high hopes for the Creed brothers, and the Revival are the greatest tag team of their generation.
Yeah, you can pair them with the Revival will be able to carry them any of the limitations the Creed brothers had. Because the Creed brothers always had like great athleticism. They were just a bit reckless in places. I think like pairing them up with the Revival is like a good match to help bring the best out of them and get them to work a really good style. So yeah,
I think that the pacing would be pretty good too. Like they would be able to, they would have a good match. They would have like an old school NXT black and gold era type match, I think. And then, you know, the side of things where like AOP was having great matches with people and all. And Brutus Creed and Julius Creed are the baby faces, and you know, Brutus does his like you know, kind of goofy way to get into the ring, and you know, they can play that up way more. The Revival are much less likely to be the baby faces in a scenario against the Creed brothers, that's for sure.
Of course, there's a world where I just ask you, why didn't you put the Revival with Praxium? As I think on paper, that's probably a better match, but I still like this.
I think Praxium against Murphy and Blake feels lower on the card than Creed's against Revival. And if I was booking this as like WrestleMania, I would want to go with like the biggest tag team title match. Praxium against Revival probably would be just as good, if not a better match. But then I don't feel like the Creeds against Banff would have been as good. So it's kind of more so, I like the Creeds, but I think that Praxium could pull a better match out of Buddy Murphy and Wesley Blake and not have to sacrifice the Revival thing too, you know? Very heel heavy on this one, I just realized, because I'm going with a heel winning the next match too. And this is a match I've booked before. No surprises. Intercontinental Championship match. Owen Hart as champion, defending against and retaining against Rey Mysterio as babyface. Owen and Rey, they would fucking kill it.
I think it's the wrong result, but I love the match. I think Rey should win. I think, you know, the babyface should.
All the more reason why he doesn't.
Well, you're so heel heavy.
I like the idea of like Ray should be able to win and be in one of those things where it's like, maybe he does like the Hurricanrana into a pinfall and like Owen, does some kind of shady thing to win at the end or whatever.
I mean, the match itself is would be amazing because like Owen could work with pretty much anybody, and pretty much mostly could be same for Mysterio as well. Like, I think this, depending on what area you did it in, because like realistically, you could do this in '96 because Mysterio was definitely very much active in '96 as well, and more in this like favoured cruiserweight territory. I don't know whether this is before he came into WCW. I think he definitely had done
I
ECW
think
work
this
by
is
this point.
right. This is 96 puts Owen right at the era where he's kind of over the hump of feuding with Brett, but right before feuding with Austin and teaming with Brett, and Ray's at the peak of his career in 96.
Well, peak for
Well, it's
in-ring action.
Athletically,
peak physicality, maybe.
athletically, I mean.
Yeah, not
So I think
title.
they'd probably do stuff in this match that probably had never been seen on a WWE event of that era before, so which would be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
either way, whatever time you did it, like, it would be fantastic. So,
I mean, there's a chance that if Owen Hart was still alive, that he might still even be able to go. You know what I mean? Based off of the way that how great he was in the ring and all.
I mean, not to be bleak, but he's only he was like 34, 35, and only 3 years separate Owen's passing and Ray being in WWE.
Right. So it could have happened.
It would have happened
in another world. And the amazing action that Owen Hart and Rey Mysterio are going to do. Let's do a completely different type of style match. Let's bring back that XL Championship and our big man buffet for this one. The big man himself, Big Hungry Ryback, against the Executioner and Tyson Tomko and Vladimir Kozlov. Just a bunch of big meaty men, big, tall, whatever. These guys are not going to get their own separate dedicated matches and all. And Ryback gets to be the only babyface out of the 4 of them. It's Battle Royal style. Ryback wins. There's your breath and break if you don't want to watch that, because you just got to watch Owen Hart and Rey Mysterio, and you got the main event coming up next. Ryback winning a big man buffet just makes sense. I was certainly not going to put him in, it's
beat him more, I mean,
it's Ryback against some,
he's Big Hungry, and
yeah.
I mean, it's not your best big man buffet.
Yeah. It's not the most innovative one either, where it's like the 6-pack challenge, whatever, or something, It's just, here's 4 of them that make sense, and Ryback's in there as the winner.
Again, I'm not going to say how, but I have a similar... it's the 6 leftovers, and here's this.
But yeah, I wasn't going to do anything great with the Executioner. I certainly wasn't going to do anything great with Tyson Tomko. I didn't care to do anything about Vladimir Kozlov. I thought about putting him with another group that I'll mention a little bit, but then again, I didn't want to do like another 10-man tag thing or something. And I was like, well, he's fine for a big man buffet, Kozlov. And it could be Kozlov at the end against Ryback or something. Like, you throw the Executioner out, you throw Tomko out, you do the Kozlov and Ryback or something, but Ryback wins that, and then we got our main event for night 1, WWE Women's Championship match. This is something that you two would be more inclined to pitch than I would. Alba Fire as a heel against babyface champion Becky Lynch.
Yeah, that's the correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's good job. You did something right, Tony.
Good job.
I got Becky Lynch retaining the title, Alba Fire going in as how can we make Kaylee Ray at her most dangerous, going in to challenge the babyface Becky Lynch, and the man stays on top.
Now make it a barbed wire rope match, and then we're already talking.
Could be. You could throw a hardcore stipulation in there. I didn't, just because I didn't type that out, but I do have room for that to, that could be some kind of stipulation like that.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great way to end the show. So
Night 2 starts off with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, The New Day against Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury, Eminem. Can't see anything wrong with that.
Yes.
I would enjoy
Oh yeah,
that.
I forgot that you had every single tag team on your roster.
Yeah, he sure did.
Uh-huh. We were going to have at least, I think, 5 more tag team matches, because there's a lot. But yeah, I mean,
But they work. It's brilliant, yeah.
Kofi and Xavier were another option to go up against the Revival and have like Creed Brothers against Eminem. Could have been Fraxium against Eminem. Could have been Blake and Murphy. Like, there's so many options, but I was just like, I think New Day and Eminem would probably have some pretty good chemistry together. And the flashiness of the two different types of gimmicks, New Day could have fun on the promos with the Eminem crew, where they could be more of like the the butt of the joke douchebags. Also thought about throwing Eminem in with the Model Citizens instead of doing the Body Donnas and putting the Body Donnas against somebody else. Thought about the Body Donnas against the Creed brothers to throw the Model Citizens thing into the Eminem thing. And then I was like, you know what? A 10-man tag. And when you've got the Body Donnas and the Bushwhackers, they kind of offset each other a little bit better than throwing in Eminem. They're more like, they're a bigger deal. I don't want Body Donnas to get their own separate tag team thing. So Eminem against New Day. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I got New Day's babyfaces winning. Not my favorite match of the card. Match number 2. Chavo Guerrero as a heel against babyface Curtis Axel. I don't really have much to go on here. They were kind of on the leftover side of things, and I was like, they in another world they could do a good thing. Curtis Axel wasn't bad. He was just, not as bad. And Chavo Guerrero is not bad. He's just not Eddie. So I would much rather prefer Eddie Guerrero versus Mr. Perfect. But if we got to go with the,
Just get to cosplay him.
Yeah, why not? The spirit of Eddie Guerrero up against the spirit of Mr. Perfect.
That's crazy.
And,
you just call it the, I guess it's like the almost a dream match.
What's the term for when you're like just about to fall asleep? You haven't started dreaming yet. The no REM sleep dream match or something.
Yeah. The nightmare match.
I think Chavo as a heel goes in cocky. Curtis Axel's the younger. My dad was Mr. Perfect, and Chavo's like, hey, fuck you, pal, or something. And then Curtis Axel gets to win. Then, Chavo takes a loss, and we can maybe start building up Curtis Axel towards one of the mid-card belts at some point if we really want to try to push him that way.
Both are third generation. It does make sense, but it's not the match I want to see.
Third generation, 2 out of 3 falls then. There you go. Drag that on longer. Not my favorite match. Bollywood Boys, the Singh Brothers, whatever you want to call them, but let's put it this way. The Bollywood Boys makes more sense here. Gurv Sira or Sunil Singh and Harv Sira / Samir Singh against the Headbangers. 2 different types of music going on here. The Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher are doing their thing. Bollywood Boys are doing their thing. Why not have them up against each other?
How close did you get to doing some like Hollywood versus Bollywood with Eminem?
Didn't even think about it, honestly.
That's the first place my mind went. But maybe it's because you said Eminem. But I just thought about that immediately.
I kind of like that idea, Hollywood, Bollywood. But I think Headbangers and Bollywood Boys, in their primes, they could have a halfway decent match at least.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have a bad match. It's not going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's far from the match that's going to sell this card or something, but, you need more people in the tag team division, fucking apparently, with this roster.
You sure did, pal.
Yeah, so, Cruiserweight Championship match after that. Hakushi. I don't know if he technically could have been a cruiserweight, but we're going to call him that.
No, I don't think so. I think he's a bit too big to be a cruiserweight, but we'll take it.
We'll call him that.
Depends what your definition is of a cruiserweight. I mean, technically, you could have the cruiserweight limit be at like 250 pounds if you wanted to, but like, I would.
Let's see. What did he? What was he billed as? 238. Fuck. Okay. Well, you know what?
Yeah, that's pretty. So for standards, like I think the highest the cruiserweight highest limit ever was. I know 205 became like the standard thing, but I think the highest ever had in WWE was 220.
Yeah.
So he's about 20 pounds heavier than that.
Somewhat cruiserweight championship. There we go. Match. Hakushi
But it's
against
a light heavyweight, and you're fine.
Light heavyweight.
Light heavyweight.
championship.
Yeah, there you go. Hakushi against TJ Perkins. TJP's good. Hakushi would be a good opponent for him, I think.
Perkins has a lot
TJP's
of
good,
experience
Hakushi's better.
wrestling in Japan, so
Yeah. And, technically, if you were like, okay, well, you need to hold yourself to the 205 live limit or something like that or whatever, you could, I guess, swap like Chavo against TJP and whatever or something. I don't know. But dealing with the card that I'm working with here. But I was like, yeah, Hakushi and TJP, they could do a good match. That'd be fun. And it's a mid-card thing, so, it's not the biggest, it's not the main event for everything. Neither is this match. Women's tag team match. Surprise, surprise, Tony books the two blondes against the two gothy chicks. So you've got Ariel and Tatum Paxley as a tag team that I'm calling Nightshade. I figured that would be a good name for them. Against the Jordan Grace and Judy Martin team of Grace and Grit. It's the first thing I could think of. Couldn't think of anything else.
There is a world, and I'm not going to belabor this, but there is a world where I swear to God, if they were booking Jordan Grace better right now on real TV, she'd be higher up on Tony's card.
Mm-hmm.
But its perception is reality, and this is where Jordan Grace is.
Well, she almost was the option for the title match, Becky Lynch against Jordan Grace. And then I was just like, well, I don't like the idea of Alba Fire against any of the other people. And when I was looking at who I could do like some match against Judy Martin or some team or some group or whatever, Judy Martin's somebody that I know like nothing about. And when I was looking into her a little bit, see if there's maybe something that would spark something, I was just like, yeah, I'm not feeling all that. She would probably pair with Jordan Grace more than anybody.
Judy Martin was one of the glamour girls opposite the Jonathan Bomb Angels when they did the brief women's tag titles in '88. So my only suggestion would be change the name to Glamour and Grace.
Glamour and Grace could work too, yeah.
It's fine.
Glamour and Grace and Grit. I'll just type that out because I don't feel like typing out the other thing. But yeah, Grace and Martin probably beat Ariel and Tatum Paxley because Ariel probably is the one that takes the pin. Let's be honest, Ariel's not getting a pin at the very least. And it could maybe work, the tag team of Ariel and Tatum, if Tatum's in the ring 99% of the time.
I love Tatum Paxley, but when Tatum Paxley is your Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Hey, when you got Ariel in the card, you got to figure something out for her to do. Thought about trying to do something with Ariel and the Executioner. Couldn't think of like a man and a woman team to go up against them. And then, Executioner was also just like, I'll just throw him in the big man. Yeah. This is a little bit weirder one. Hardcore tag team match. Leaf Cassidy / Al Snow, whatever, and Stevie Richards, which I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? That could actually, like, I could see that. Leaf Cassidy and Stevie Richards, they both had the sort of like lame, long-haired kind of side of their career and then the more ECW side of things. So I'm going to call them the Misfit Rockers and put them up against Paul Burchill and Finley and call them the Cutthroats. Two brawling guys against two ECW types.
Cutthroat because he's a pirate?
Yep. I was like, the pirate something, the we love to fight, we love to pirate, we love piracy. Like I was going through the whole thing like that. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And Cutthroat makes more sense to me. So Cutthroats beat the Misfit Rockers. I guess, you could go either way if you really wanted to send, if you wanted to have the Misfit Rockers win and be the next people to challenge the Revival, you could do that too. But for now, I'm going to Paul Burchill and Finley. Honestly, not my least favorite match of the whole setup.
No, I like it. I think that'd be a decent match.
Here's where you hate me, though. Here's like, it could be a match, but it doesn't need to be, because it could probably just be a segment, and you're going to get the same amount of what little appeal that you could get out of it. Fake Razor Ramon against Doink the Clown.
But which doink though?
Doesn't matter.
He was drafted. He was drafted as Matt Bourne, so it's Matt Bourne as Doink the Clown, probably.
All right. I mean, very rarely is Doink the Clown the superior worker in any match, but
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like I said, it could be a gimmick segment as opposed to a match. It could be an actual like segment that leads to a match or something, but it's a bathroom break thing, more than anything.
You know
It's
what
just
you
like
do?
to play around with the fake razor thing and Doink. Like, who can Doink do something kind of silly with? And unfortunately, I had a lot of people that were crappy on this roster, but fake razor mode is definitely the one that is like the top of the. I ain't doing anything that's like actually matters with fake razor Ramon. He's not going to be fighting for the Intercontinental title or something.
Here's a stupid thing that I thought way too much about in the last 2 minutes. You have Doink send out a fake Doink because it's the fake razor, and then at some point the real Doink comes out and does the whole double vision thing and beats fake razor. I thought way too much about that. Way too quickly.
Hopefully, it picks up a little bit after that with Harley Race against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And between the two, babyface Hunter, DX Hunter, maybe, against, heel Harley Race. Given
It's
how
shocking.
Triple H is very much like with the Killer Kowalski side of things and all, I think they could do something.
It's shocking that you got Triple H, and chose to use him as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I like the pairing against Harley, though.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think the Triple H pick came after I had drafted him as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So I just wrote him out as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but he's Triple H. Same thing.
Yeah, but essentially this is Triple H against the guy that Triple H thinks he is.
Yeah, basically, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good way to put it.
It's like this would be the equivalent of like from like my era of watching like Jericho and Michaels.
Yeah,
like
kind of.
WrestleMania 19. Like the guy that you always wanted to emulate and having that match against them and trying to prove that you're better than the original. Because I think the Triple H always thought that was him versus Ric Flair, and it's not really. Ric Flair was probably more akin to Michaels, really. It's like Flair, Michaels, Jericho, and Triple H is more like Harley Race, but he never got a chance to wrestle Harley Race because Race was very much retired by the time that Triple H came to prominence. So
I like this, and it makes me think, okay, it's okay that Tony didn't book Bruno against Harley, because that was the obvious when they landed on your teams.
And I thought, if this were to be a scenario where I would actually see this play out, if you were to say Triple H against Harley Race or Bruno against Harley Race, Bruno and Harley would be a scenario where I'd be like, maybe I'll work on some stuff while I'm watching it. Maybe Harley Race against Triple H, I might be more into it. Yeah, because I like Triple H more. And Triple H wins.
Depending on what era you did for them as well, you could add a stipulation that one of them has to shave the handlebar mustache.
That's funny.
I was drinking at the time. I just went right through my nose.
That's really funny.
Now I have water all over me.
It's worth it.
Oh god, it's like you're in the crowd of a Triple H match. You were there.
I should have just spit it up in the air, Yeah, that'd be a good stipulation for that. We got a 6-man tag. Ahmed Johnson, Bobby Lashley, and Farouk. The Dominators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nation of Domination. You got the Dominator move. You got the, it works. I like that. Up against the Samoan Wrecking Crew. Now, here's where I play a little bit into this. I got the Sultan. I wasn't going to book the Sultan as the Sultan. And I got Solo Sikoa. And I got Yokozuna. And as much as I had so many things of like, I could do Yoko versus, any number of people, and Yoko's fucking cool. And like, I thought about Solo versus Yoko. I thought about Solo versus Rikishi, Sultan, whatever. Eventually, I was just like, you know what? I like this idea of the Dominators. These three, Ahmed, Farouk, and Bobby Lashley up against Rikishi, Solo, and Yokozuna. And I'm going to call them, actually, all their nicknames. So it's Rikishi, but he's the Sultan Rikishi. Kind of like the Caesar Sikoa idea that they were going to go with for Jacob Fatu. Who's Solo Sikoa? He's the street champion. And who's Yokozuna, or the Yokozuna? Rodney Kukina. Rodney Anawai, Kukina Maximus. It's going to be a scenario where the bloodline is tied in together and they're all heels. And I'll explain that a little bit more when I get to the main event. But that's going to be their nicknames. The Sultan Rikishi, the street champion Solo Sikoa, and the Yokozuna Rodney Kukina. Samoan Wrecking Crew beats the Dominators.
Can't escape the bloodline even in our fantasy. But...
Yeah, no, I was
Nope.
going to say the same thing. Like, you cannot escape the bloodlines.
Can't.
But this would be a nice hard-hitting match. I think it needs to have... This needs to be tornado style, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely... I'm thinking more, the Nation of Domination against, Ahmed and Road Warriors,
And
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chicago Street Fight. Like, it's got to be some kind of... The rules are... Maybe it's not necessarily like, okay, we put this in there as, like, this is a street fight, but that they start and it's like, okay, you know what? The bell didn't even ring yet, but now it's going to be no DQ. Like, something like that, where, like, these people are going to fuck each other up in like false count anywhere scenario or something. And I think Ahmed most likely takes the pin, because between Ahmed and Bobby Lashley and Farouk, which one's the one that's going to take the pin? I'd rather it be Ahmed. He can bitch and complain about it, whatever. But I was like, I kind of like that. As much as the idea of like Bobby Lashley against Yokozuna on his own, or we were joking about, am I going to just do Ahmed versus Farouk or something like that? Overall, Samoan Wrecking Crew against the Dominators. I think that could be kind of a draw for this card, all things considered.
Yeah. I'd say I think it's I think it'd be very hard hitting. So as long as you keep the violence up, then that'd be good.
You got Bailey as the women's mid-card champion, which is currently mislabeled on here. Although I didn't need to bother to actually say that. So, nobody's seeing that on screen, but whatever. It's a women's mid-card title match. It was originally a fatal 4-way, and not anymore. Bailey as a heel up against Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka wins. Really not much more to it.
I think we've seen that match before. Yeah, I think we've seen that match before. But they're both baby faces technically. So if you go more heel role model Bailey, then I think that works very well.
And I thought about, Sol Ruka and some other thing. I thought about Bailey being the one that would team up with Judy Martin instead and do some kind of role model thing there and have Jordan Grace against Sol Ruka. But eventually I was like, Jordan Grace and Judy Martin might work better. And Bailey and Sol Ruka, they could do great stuff together. So Sol Ruka wins, new women's mid-card champion. And now we're on our main event. A steel cage match for the WWE Championship. Bret the Hitman Hart against Roman Reigns. And the idea of this being Roman's got the bloodline behind him. He is the heel champion. Bret is the babyface going up against him. And Bret has a fractured heart foundation. He does not have the same support. Owen is a heel. He's doing his own thing with the Intercontinental title. Davey Boy is a heel, either working with the Model Citizens or going up against Bruno. None of them are supportive and helpful, and he feels like he's alone in the whole thing like that. So he has the stipulation of the steel cage to try to keep the Samoan Wrecking Crew out. And when in all, matter of WWE steel cage matches, when the Samoan Wrecking Crew does come out, Dominators, who had previously lost their match, come out and try to help out Bret. And oh man, Bret's got some backup with the Dominators there. He's going to be able to beat Roman. Nah, Roman still ends up winning. Fuck you.
Boy, you're really conditioned, huh?
So yeah, that's
Steel cage match.
That's what I got.
Come on, it's a fantasy world. There doesn't need to be interference in your fantasy world steel cage match.
But it's
No,
gonna
there does.
happen.
Because even though it's fantasy, it's real. And damn it.
I'm surprised you didn't pair Bret Hart just with Ryback just as a fuck you to him. Take on you can't fight real Goldberg, take on fake Goldberg.
In a last man standing match, right?
But
And, Brett and Roman was like a very early thing where I was like, all right, I'm going to put Brett and Roman together. Let's see if I think of something that I like better. And I thought, maybe Roman against Yokozuna in some kind of tribal combat thing, and Brett defends the title against anybody else. It could have been Brett against Triple H with like their prime idea. I actually thought a lot about Brett versus JBL. That was like my second option, and I almost went with that. And then to do the Roman and Yokozuna thing, and then it would have been Rikishi and Solo as a tag team against probably Ahmed and Farouk as a tag team, and then Lashley would have been something else. And then I'm like, well, Lashley versus Bob Backlund is left over, and I don't like that idea. I don't want to put Lashley in the big man buffet because he's better than that. He can do better than just being a part of, tossing out Tyson Tomko. And then it just became one of those things where it was just like, all right, well, if I do Brett versus JBL, then as much as that could have some, they could have done some good stuff together in that way, it's not worth it to sacrifice the other matches and stuff. So Brett and Roman is the biggest match that I could possibly get in this too. I like the steel cage idea and doing that whole thing. So I was like, you know what? In the grand scheme of this, I don't hate this card as much as I thought that I would, even though if I wouldn't pick at least half of the people that are on this.
I mean, I think you still got all the hallmarks of a Tony card.
Yeah, and you're going to get a big man buffet. You're going to get the goth girls paired up if I have the option, that kind of thing.
I think it's more than the sum of its parts in certain places. It had some good combinations and stuff like that, and made sure that the few very good people that you got were working other very good people, which kind of elevates the rest of it. And obviously the tag team stuff is all very good, so, and I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling, so it's good to see a lot of that there.
Now, I do have my versions of your cards, which we will most likely do as like a Darkcast thing or something like that. So I'm not going to show that on my screen, but yeah, that's the Tony card. So Callum, I think you should go next. We should build Rob up.
I think I should, yes.
Oh wait, before that, the high and low. I forgot about that.
Okay, yeah, High's obviously Owen versus Ray. That's like the match that I'd most like to see. But there's other high things. I like Alpha Fire, Becky Lynch as well, and Harley Race Triple H would be fun as well. I think in terms of like highlights, for one that is a bit more low key. He's
in the draft low key.
Yeah, no.
I had to.
I'd say probably the 6-man tag match, because I think that would just be, it's not like typically my style of thing, but I think that because they're so, all the people in it are just brawlers, I think it'd be a fun match to watch. And the low is probably Chavo versus Curtis Axel, because of course it is.
Yeah, that
pretty much that 3 out of those 4 matches you have there of the Chavo Curtis Axel, then Mosh Thrasher versus the Bollywood Boys, and then you got Ariel and Tatum Paxley against Jordan Grace and Jimmy Martin later on. It's just like, I think you'd be hard pressed not to walk out at that point, so you miss the rest of it. So, but that's probably the worst part of it.
Actually, realistically, it probably should be. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that should be switched around. The Hakushi and TJP match should probably be where the Bob Backlund and JBL match is, for a more important thing, and switching it up a little bit.
I think the Hakushi is
really
the only thing that would keep it. If you're looking for like a more traditional wrestling fan, that'd probably be the only thing that keeps them around for that period.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to swap that with JBL and Bob Backlund is not bad, but it's like, I probably would rather watch Hakushi versus TJ Perkins. That's just for my own sensibilities.
All right, so let me switch back to graphic. And there you go, Callum. What's your card?
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying that I made sure to include everybody, of course, because again, it's always important for the brief. And do the 2 night thing as we always do, because there's just too many people to fit on one show. I also wanted to include a match type that just hasn't been seen before. So I've made sure to do a match which is completely original and unique. And I'll get to that when we get to that one. But we'll start with night 1. And we're going to kick off with a fatal 4-way ladder match for the light heavyweight championship. Because again, I was a little bit worried about the size of certain of these people. And out of all of the light heavyweight cruiserweight type matches that I usually like to include in my card, this is certainly one of them. And then it's
it's one of them.
Yeah, well, that's the best I can say about it, really, because it's Uriah Connors versus Aldo Montoya versus Adam Rose versus Sean Legacy.
Wow, what a Callum card to start with.
Yeah.
Definitely not what I got on my card version of yours, that's for sure.
Yeah. I've never seen Sean Legacy wrestle, so I assume that he's this size. Like, I can only assume that he's a size that could be fitting of a cruiserweight.
Yeah, he basically is.
And then, yeah, the other guys are just like these are pretty much outside of a few other people that I've put in other matches. Like, these are the only cruiserweights that I had, and so I'm going to put them together. But yeah, so putting a ladder match, try and make it slightly more exciting. I had Connors going in as the champion, but have Aldo Montoya winning the title in this one. But again, this was just who I had left among my cruiserweights to do something. So not my favourite start of one, but then I moved into a 10-man tag team match, which I've dubbed Mexican Macabre. Because it's Kevin Thorne, the Ascension, and the Culling on one side.
I see that, yeah.
Against Lince Dorado, the Lucha Dragons, and Los Garzas on the other side. So
you know what's so fucking funny? I'm gonna spoil this. I had Lince Dorado, Lucha Dragons, and Los Garza against Kevin Thorne, the Boogeyman, and I was like trying to do the exact same thing for my version of your card, so that's so funny.
Continuing on from the theme of the shared brain cell from the draft podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes sense, though. Like, I 100% see why you go with the Lucha Dragons, Lince, and Los Garza, and then you're like, well, who do you pair them up? You pair them up against the people that are the kind of goofy, like the luchadors are the baby faces, clearly, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's like a case of, I only redrafted one kind of main event level tag team, which was the Usos. And so my immediate thought was thinking, like, well, who do I put them up against out of the Ascension, the Culling, the Lucha Dragons, or Los Garzas? Like, well, none of them are at the level of the Usos. So you'll find out later on that I had to create a tag team to fight the Usos. But yeah, so I thought, okay, mix them all together, mix all of the like the Mexican heritage wrestlers and the luchadors up against this team of like more horror or violent focused heels. And I had the heels winning this one just because I had Aldo Montoya winning the first one. I thought I'd just balance it out by having a heel team win. But again, it's an either-or situation. I just think it would be, you know, a bit more of a fun, goofy match. I try and do it with like CMLL rules where like if you just go out of the ring, just another person can come in to replace them, rather than being a traditional tag team style match to fit in the Mexican theme of it.
I like that.
But yeah. Then I have a hardcore tag team match. I have Logan Paul and Paul Orndorff accompanied by Lana. I'm thinking naming them Mr. Wonderpool.
Did you book this with the idea in mind of just because they're both Pauls, or did you book this and then just go, oh, you know, happy coincidence, they're both Paul?
I mean, I kind of do because they're both kind of like, they were both best portrayed as like jerky heels with like inflated self-worth. And I paired them with Lana because Lana kind of draws herself to those kinds of wrestlers. Yeah. like with like Andrade and Rusev and that lot. I didn't really have I didn't want to just pair. I thought of pairing Lana with Nikolai Volkov, but I thought that was too that just going a bit too far down the wrong direction. like it's a bit too derivative from Rusev to just go with pair Lana, who once had a Russian accent, with the Russian guy. But I thought, pair her with I could picture her being like Logan Paul's older girlfriend and manager at the same time, and then Paul Orndorff's there as well as like a mentor figure for Paul. Paul and Paul, yeah. And then they're fighting the Team Extreme duo with Rob Van Dam and Rhino, with Trinity as their manager as well. And I kind of see this playing out like Rob probably knows what I'm imagining this pairing up like the ECW One Night Stand 2006 match. Edge and Foley against Funk and Dreamer, with Bueller and Lita getting involved in places. They're not technically in the match. Well, I know they were technically added to the match there, but realistically, this is just a tag team match which will have a catfight spot in it.
Yeah, there will be a catfight spot, and that's
Makes sense.
Genuinely, that's probably the best use of Trinity and arguably Lana. I know that's probably fucked up, but
that's the one thing. Like Trinity was actually. I've seen like clips of Trinity from like her TNA days and stuff like that. She would do moonsaults to the outside and stuff like that. So she was athletic. She just didn't have wrestling fundamentals to build all together. But
Anna
I think
would go through a table.
You could do that.
Remember that
gimmick? Does. Yeah. but yeah, she could probably Logan Paul could probably pull her into the way Gore through a table to try and because he's a coward like that. And I'd have Team Extreme win because I just, I can't, in good conscience, have Logan Paul win a match. Oh my god!
Surprising use of Rob Van Dam, but I get it.
I know. There was plenty of places. It was like I paired off a lot of people, and I thought, oh my god, what am I doing with Rob Van Dam? But I think, a hardcore rules type match. I almost thought just pairing him up with Logan Paul, because Logan Paul, despite being a dick, is super athletic, and I think he would pair well with Rob Van Dam, so they can do more of the in-ring stuff here, while Orndorff and Rhino do more stuff on the outside. Not that Rhino is a bad wrestler. Rhino was very good, and Orndorff was very good as well, but it's more like they do all the athletic, crazy dive stuff. United States Championship, Chris Benoit defending against Apollo Crews.
You know what? It's very bare bones, but I like it. It's a very something that would have happened at some point.
Yeah. I got to the point where obviously I had a lot of other people booked. I was like, what am I going to do with Benoit? And I just think, well, Apollo Crews is a really good wrestler, and Benoit, despite everything that we know, and certainly not should be either forgiven or forgotten, is well the case. He was a very good wrestler when he was alive to do it. So I think that this is pretty much a match they would have done in 2006 for the United States Championship if Apollo Crews was around at that point in time.
It would have been a good match too.
Yeah, I always liked Apollo Crews, and I hope that wherever he goes next, that he's doing something good. But then the match this is probably the match I booked first. I can't remember the actual order I booked a load of these matches, but this is probably one of the ones I put out immediately. Last Man Standing, Vader versus Samoa Joe.
Oh, God, that's
just give me murder.
Yeah,
murder each other on my screen. I just think that these two would beat the absolute living shit out of each other, because that's what they were bred to do.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
I think, and Samoa Joe would eventually cause Vader to pass out in the Coquina Clutch.
I like that.
Coquina Clutch, yeah. And then, I think that's that was like, I saw those two and just thought, oh yeah, why am I waiting to put this match together? This is the obvious choice. Then I have my Liberty Championship, my perennial name for my women's mid-card titles. Victoria against Nikki Cross in a street fight. I've got a lot of hardcore kind of matches on this one, but I kind of thought that this was a good... there's a lot of gimmicks in a lot of my matches, just because I thought the thing suited it. But Victoria, the most famous match that I know of Victoria is even though she's had plenty of matches, was the street fight with Trish Stratus from Survivor Series 2002, and I kind of see Nikki Cross being able to carry that same sort of crazy, inventive approach to this type of match. I almost thought about pairing them together, but then I realised I didn't have enough women for that to make sense. So, when I say women, I mean women that can wrestle, because I didn't want to put Lana and Trinity in an actual wrestling match.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Victoria versus Nick. So Victoria's heel, Nikki Cross babyface. They have like a violent street fight, and Victoria, who what goes in as champion, also retains the title. So, and then I think maybe Rob thought this was one of the first matches that I'd book as well, because I'll ask a question, Rob, based on, I don't know if you're looking at my cards. What's one match from my card that has never been done before that many people might have thought had been done before?
Huh. Given that you'd say that, I would say, is it Ricky Steamboat, Shawn Michaels?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is for the Intercontinental title, because I have another match for my WWE title. I didn't want to do world title,
Two world titles,
women's world title, and stuff like that. So Shawn Michaels versus Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship in an Iron Man match. Yeah,
Iron Man match. Even better,
I was surprised. I was surprised to see that this had never been done before. And yeah, we have go 60-minute Iron Man match. This way, this match has the smaller number of this card has the smaller number of matches on it, so they can give some time to make sure this can be like a 60-minute thing. And Michaels and Ricky Steamboat just do their thing. I'd have Michaels as the heel for this one, because literally you can't do a heel Ricky Steamboat, because the one time they tried, it nearly killed TNA. So was it TNA? It was a TNA Ring of Honor, wasn't it, that tries to do heel Ricky Steamboat?
It feels like TNA would. Feels like TNA would make that mistake.
And so Ricky Steamboat, perennial babyface, they would just go out and do what they do for an hour, trade a few pinfalls, and then I'd have Ricky Steamboat beat Michaels for the title. But yeah, that's I tried to. This is the more wrestling out of the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, you sold me on Steamboat Michaels. Like they would kill it.
Yeah, I don't usually do the thing where I do the matches that I'd kind of prefer to watch for night one rather than night two. But then I just felt that because I wanted to put more matches on night two as well, and I decided that Michaels and Steamboat was going to be my kind of upper mid card title match. I realised, okay, then I need to put all the best ones on night one. And then I'll be a bit more gimmicky and weird in night two. Which will start here with my completely new, original, never before seen matchup. It's called the Super Heavyweight Smorgasbord. And I think you'll find there's no copyright attached. So there's an 8-man
instead of the big man belt being on the line. Is this like the large man leaderboard or something?
No, it's for the it's for the smorgasbord.
Well, you sold me without even telling me who's in it. I'm assuming Greg Khali's in it though.
No, he's actually one of the few people that isn't in it. We'll get to that. It's so it's Psycho Sid, King Kong Bundy, Junkyard Dog, Mike Knox, Tatanka, Nikolai Volkov, Special Delivery Jones, and Blackjack Mulligan.
Is Blackjack Mulligan a super heavyweight?
He's a big boy.
He's pretty big. Yeah, big boy. Yeah. Like super heavyweight is a very loose term. It's something that I essentially needed an alliteration.
He's as much of a super heavyweight as Kushi is a cruiserweight.
Yeah, probably.
I'll play around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just your traditional battle royal, that's never been seen before with this many big men. and then Psycho Sid wins because he's Sid, and he's the master and ruler of the world. So
I completely agree with that statement.
As he should.
Yeah. All right, and so then we move into this small 10-man tag elimination Survivor Series style match. So we've got the Bully Brigade. Yeah, we did probably of Chris Masters, Elijah Burke, Dino Bravo, Butch Reed, and Orlando Jordan against what I'm calling the Power Pals, in the sense that they let Eugene name the team.
Aw,
So
that's nice of them.
yeah. So this was his make a wish. It's Eugene, Eric Rowan, the Boogeyman, Coco Beware, and Duke the Dumpster Drozy.
It's so funny because I have a very similar
No,
match
no,
on my
you
version
don't.
of your
Yeah.
card
Stop
too. Quite literally, I'm like, okay, you gotta put Eugene with Coco, and you gotta put both
Yeah.
of them with Duke. Like,
Yeah, it was just
Lord.
it was just a bunch of like mean jock bullies against the guys that they would pick on. The
Yeah.
guys in the particular classroom in which they would eat paste and stuff. So
They should have done the Power Pals and not the Paste Pals.
well, one of them literally eats worms. Like that's literally
Yeah.
that's a canon for them that one of them eats worms. So yeah, I went with that for so Eugene, Eric Rowan, Boogeyman, Coco Beware, and Duke Drozy. I'd have them win because the bully shouldn't win in these instances. Should
Yeah.
let the people stand up to them and show that they're not to be treated that way. So, all right, okay. I need a bit of a prelude for this one. This is probably even stupider than the match that I did beforehand.
Oh God.
So, in a backstage segment leading up to this show, Elias Sampson is playing music to a bunch of people behind the scenes, and he's trying to show off. People are like, he's just playing to, and then Miles Bourne walks by, and he doesn't and he doesn't react because he doesn't have his hearing aid in. And Elias
It's not like
thinks
it's
that
not
he
on the
takes that
table. They did the Lexus King stuff.
Yeah. So he takes that as a personal insult and hits Miles Bourne on the back of the head with a guitar. And then that leads to the Symphony of Destruction match on this show between Elias Sampson and Miles Bourne.
Please tell me Miles Bourne wins from some kind of he
He
doesn't
does.
hear something.
He does win, but he does win. I was going more simple, like he just hits Elias with his own guitar to get the victory. But, it could go something like that as well. It could be a case that like Elias tries to play some like maybe that like Miles Bourne at one point is right next to a bunch of amplifiers.
Exactly.
And, Elias goes to like strum his guitar really loud next to it to try and like really stick to it. But then Miles Bourne just stands up and just reveals that he hasn't had his hearing aids in the whole time. And then he beats him for it.
He turns it up to 11.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes, fucking.
Or you can even do something like that where you have like Elias Sampson getting that as well, and so Elias is temporarily deaf as well because of what he does. Like
Elias is temporarily deaf, but Ezekiel isn't.
Don't even get us started on Elrod.
Yeah.
This is a very Tony card.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I had to get to this sort of thing. Okay, so we got the mixed triple threat tag team match. So we have Noam Dar and Alicia Ford against Goldust and Marlena
Okay.
against Crush and Lalani Kai because they are both Hawaiian.
Yeah, they are.
You know?
Absolutely,
Didn't think of it.
they
and that's
are.
all. And that's all you need. So
Now, would
yeah,
you
I thought
drink
that- yeah.
Kona Crush or would you drink Leilani?
I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, I think we'll move on for that.
Their tag team's name's got to be Hawaiian Punch, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that could be good
Because of the hard punch and all.
Punch.
Yeah.
The other ones could just be literally the Noam Dar and Alicia Fox team is just Alicia Fox. And
Fuck you.
I don't think Goldust did Goldust and Marlena ever have like a team name or like a combination thing?
They never really did.
It'd probably be just like Shattered Dreams or something.
Yeah,
Shattered
Shattered
Dreams
Dreams Productions or something. Yeah. So and I just have Goldust and Marlena win because they're the most established acts out of the three of them. Okay, Punjabi prison match.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
there is.
I hope that this is where Great Khali's in, at least.
Yeah, so it's Tahanka versus
Shawn Michaels versus.
no, it's,
Yeah.
so it's Great Khali versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, God.
Did I book this card? I think I did.
Yeah. So Great Khali is accompanied by Davari, who at some point will try and scale through the cages to try and interfere on his behalf. Because obviously Davari was Great Khali's original manager, so I thought I might as well do that as well. I wasn't going to put him in the Cruiserweight match. And yeah, to honest, this is the first ever Punjabi prison match where everyone will be happy that they can't see what's happening in the ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you just go through. Literally, it goes like every single Punjabi prison match has ever gone, which is they try and all get through the little trapdoors. They realise the trapdoors are just too small for the guys that are in the ring, because they always are. Like, how can someone escape through those trapdoors? Except Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal couldn't manage to do it, but but they all try and do it, and then none of them are able to get through, so they start climbing over the top of it. The Great Khali gets pretty much all the way out, except for the fact that he's so slow that the Ultimate Warrior is able to burst his way through and escape that way. Maybe you do think like Daivari trying to hold Ultimate Warrior back, and Ultimate Warrior just does his own version of his whole cut thing, and he just power slams Daivari through a gimmicked part of the Punjabi prison and wins the match that way.
It's funny, again, not to spoil my version of your card, but I get the sense that you were like, what the fuck do I do with Ultimate Warrior? Oh, I know, this would be kind of funny. And I did a similar thing. I didn't go Punjabi prison, but I like that idea. Why the hell, why not? This would be one of those things where they would like legitimately try to sell this as like, fuck yeah, man. Vince McMahon would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought, I'd say that's channeling a lot more of like the Vince or Tony or something aspect of it. Not something that I would traditionally do if I had a choice in the matter. But okay, then we do like kind of 3 more traditional matches to end it. So you got a WWE Tag Team Championship match. I got Rocky Maivia and Ricky Sainz.
A Rock and a tag team title match. Okay, I see where you go.
Rocky Maivia. It's
Ricky.
Yeah, it's Rocky Maivia. It's not The Rock. I decided for this one, I'm going to stick to his 1996 one of being, this is not babyface Rock still. I think it's going to be heel, but it's going to be a, Rocky that's just joined the nation kind of level. I know that's technically 97, but we'll play around it a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're Rick Rock. It's their tag team. And they're facing the Usos, because of course the Usos are going to be the tag team, the big tag team with like the titles coming into it. But I'd have Rick Rock win the match. But I think that this would be a good, because Ricky Sainz has always drawn comparisons to be like a Timu Rock. So, and at this point, Rocky Maivia was a Timu Rock. So you can kind of pair these two together as cocky, up and coming young heels that are paired together, and then they'll eventually go their separate ways when they, when The Rock becomes The Rock and Ricky Sainz hopefully reaches the next level that he's going to reach. But yeah, I thought that they seem to have a similar aesthetic for the time. And then
I like that idea. I wouldn't have thought about that. I didn't come anywhere remotely close to pairing those two up. I like that.
Women's title match: Alexa Bliss versus AJ Lee.
Yep. I'll spoil it. I did the same.
Yeah, I'm kind of I almost had, because like I looked at the 4 women that I've put in these title matches and thought, well, this kind of works as a fatal 4-way, because they have all at one point done the WWE trope of being, we're just crazy and that's our personality. Of like Victoria, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, and AJ Lee, they've all done that at a certain point in their career. But I decided this, because I kind of drafted like 2016 Alexa Bliss, so I'm going to go Goddess Alexa Bliss against like lovable nerd AJ Lee, rather than like batshit crazy AJ Lee. Yeah, not certainly not goth Wyatt Alexa Bliss, and not like crazy make out of anybody that's in the room with me AJ Lee. Go with the more like lovable nerd type, because I think that would kind of counterbalance each other a lot better. But yeah, and Alexa would be the champion, and I'd have her retain in this instance, just because I think I had a lot of baby faces winning on this side of the card, so just to have a heel win as well.
I like it.
Yeah. And then my main event, WWE Championship match, Randy Savage, heel Randy Savage against Cody Rhodes.
I would love to see that.
And I want to do this match. I want this to be a double turn match. Because Cody should be a heel. And I don't care if he doesn't like it, but he will be a heel on my card by the end of this anyway. Because I kind of want to build it up to be like Cody does envision himself as being like the Hogan, the John Cena, the whatever, like the top babyface going into it. But Savage is, in many people's eyes, more popular because he'd still be like a cool champion going into this, and I'd have him of like having beaten Cody for the title a few months prior to this, and he started to, because he's just so charismatic, he started to get certain members of the crowd behind him. So I would treat it similar to like the Brett and Austin thing, where just Randy's like either star power or just general charisma started to overpower the more white meat babyface blandness. Not so blandness, but like the more, you know, how like he's more like soap opera style, melodramatic Cody Rhodes. It started to outweigh it a little bit, and they started to just fully lean into it by having Cody get more aggressive as the match goes on, because Savage just won't stay down. And he keeps kicking out of Cody's big moves. Like, oh my god, I've hit the third crossroads, and like always, someone's kicked out of it. So
I've never seen that happen ever.
Yeah, and then eventually he just has to succumb to the dark side and use a low blow, the super crossroads, stuff along those lines, gets the victory. And but then Savage is more of like babyface at the end of it. The crowd's booing Cody, and Cody just fully lays into Savage, and then you can continue the feud moving forward, just with the dynamics shifted. So, but yeah, I thought that they kind of, I wanted to do Shawn and Ricky is like the big more, even though both matches I think will be really good. Shawn and Ricky the more traditional bell to bell amazing wrestling match, and Savage Cody Rhodes to be a bit more, you know, the more melodrama that they would both lean into. But I was kind of pleased with how this one came out. There was a lot of weird matches I had to do on this that I wasn't super proud of, or ones I just had to throw together. But then I started having fun with it.
Yeah.
A certain number of these matches, and then as long as I had a few matches that I would just like to see, like Vader and Samoa Joe and Shawn Michaels, Ricky Steamboat and Savage Rhodes, then I thought, okay, then I'll just go a bit weird for the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, the highs and lows, like, obviously, there's no comparison between a high like a Shawn Michaels and Ricky Steamboat compared to the four-way Aldo Montoya, Shawn Legacy, Adam Rose, and Uriah Connors. But, like, you know, that obviously you're paired off with, you would never pick the Great Khali and the Ultimate Warrior to be on your teams compared to some other people. But, you know, I like, all things considered, yeah, like, you got some down matches, but that's because that's who you got. But like, you figured out a way to put a lot of them in together to not have a whole lot of matches with the 10-man tags and stuff. So it lessens the blow of being not having to watch like Butch Reed versus Duke the Dumpster Drosy at a singles match or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously your highs, your main events are very high. Your low points for me, that mixed tag triple threat isn't great. The 10-man elimination tag isn't great. I like the smorgasbord because it's funny to see you take something like that Tony would do and just apply it to yourself. I like.
And I think you'll find this. I think you'll find that was completely original, and I've trademarked it. So.
Yeah, I know, and I think it's absolutely original. I like that you took something I would normally do with like the backstage segments with Miles Bourne and Elias for a Symphony of Destruction match. So you had a lot of fun with it, and I think that's the most important part.
I've now set the precedent for like any time someone draws Miles Bourne with like a Jeff Jarrett or like or Jesse James or someone like that. It's like, okay, so he's deaf. I remember.
So somewhere down the line, we're gonna book something that's gonna be like the Def Jam whatever match.
It's gonna be like him. We'll get like a blind. There's gonna be like a blind wrestler somewhere along the way. You know, you gonna pair these things together.
Sin Cara, because he's got the mask looks like he's got no eyes that he'd be able to see through as much.
Is there a mute wrestler? Then we could have like the deaf, the dumb, and the blind match.
Huh.
I don't know if there's a mute one that I can think of. The only thing I can think of is if you ended up having, like, if we drafted in a way like this where it was like, okay, you specifically drafted Festus or something like that. Yeah, it's like, he can't hear the bell.
EC3 did that thing where he couldn't speak for like the last 7 months of his WWE time.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. I think they've, I mean, there's plenty of wrestlers that like his gimmick is they don't talk. So I wouldn't be surprised if. I mean, Hornswoggle didn't talk for a long time. They
Yeah.
should do him for it as well.
Poor Miles Bourne. He's like, can I just be Miles Bourne?
And he's very good at just being Miles Bourne, which is just being
The guy.
Teemu Randy Orton.
Yeah. Should put him against Ricky Saints and The Rock, and if you had Randy Orton on your team, it would have been that, you know.
I just did check. I just literally just searched blind wrestler to see if there was anything on there. Apparently, Crazy Steve is legally blind.
Yeah, he is legally blind. Yes.
Huh.
So you go with that then, and then like, because like he's still see and wrestle, so it's like to a degree, but in the same way, Osborne can still hear as long as he's got his like aids and stuff like that. So like,
I think he's only deaf in one ear too. I don't think he's deaf in both.
So really, what's the big deal then? Why does everyone care about this?
And Mick Foley didn't even have it here, and he wrestled fine.
Yeah, exactly. Miles Bourne has one ear that works. Like Eugene has a whole brain that doesn't work. Why are we not talking so much about Miles Bourne?
Alrighty, Rob. Let's see what you did with your massively amazing, fucking perfect card.
All right.
The pressure's on.
So, as we know, I drafted a shit ton of main eventers, which means my main event matches are great. There will be lulls on the other parts of the card, but we'll just get started with night one. I called this Clash of Generations because WWE likes WWE Clash and Clash of Generations. We're going to open with what I'm calling the Everyone Else Battle Royal. Literally anyone that I couldn't find a spot for is in this, and it's only about 5 or 6 people. It's won by Bob Holly because he had an idea. He beat everybody. And the other people were Matt Stryker, Tama, the Brooklyn Brawler, and Tommy Dreamer. So like Tony's, there's about 6 leftovers. They're all in a match. And Bob Holly wins because he had an idea. This next one, go ahead.
I'll say you didn't decide to do like a Matt Stryker, Tommy Dreamer, ECW 2006 kind of segment on this one.
No, because it just I saw it. I lived through it. It wasn't great.
No.
This next match is for me something that I thought of right away. I drafted Barry Windham 96, but since no one got him in 86, I'm gonna pretend like he was at the peak of his career in 86 and put him against Roderick Strong. And will just be one fall to a finish. A tremendous wrestling match. I have Roderick getting the win because he, the newer guy and putting over the younger talent. But I think we can all agree that match would be a banger if you've seen Barry Windham wrestle.
Yeah. It's like for a while, it's like the other guys from two big factions. It's like
that's true too.
Yeah. This guy was in the Four Horsemen, but he's not kind of the standout member of the Four Horsemen. It's like, oh, this guy was in Undisputed Era, but he's not the standout guy of the Undisputed Era.
Right, they're like the mid-card guys of their respective factions.
Yeah,
and for me, that was one of the early matches I booked. That's a no-brainer. As is this one. It's just Diesel beating fake Diesel.
Yeah,
I will say right now. Go ahead, Denny.
I mean, Diesel versus fake Diesel. When you drafted both, I was like, it's got to be pretty difficult to not be tempted to do that, right?
I thought of some things. Like I thought of, you remember the stupid monster truck match? I thought about doing like a diesel truck kind of thing, but I just decided to have the real one beat the fake one. And
it's on my version of your card too.
Yeah, it's paint by numbers. If I maybe had gotten Razor, I might have done some like NWO thing because I would have had Hogan, Hall, and Nash. But seeing as this is what I got, that's what I did. The next match is it's just standard one fall to a finish. It's a match you could see on any SmackDown today. It's Raquel Rodriguez beating Lash Legend. 2 powerful women. And I just had Raquel get the win here because
she has back.
She has a back, and I still see her when she was in NXT, and I'm like, she was the top woman, and for a while, it looked like she was going to do great things. But I like both of these women, and this would have been a fine match.
As long as you don't see Lash Legend from when she was in NXT.
But I'm glad I did because I got to see her actually become good. This one's a gimme. I mentioned this on a previous podcast. It's a guitar and a pole match. Jesse James defeating the Honky Tonk Man, who has Jillian Hall in his corner. I honestly, there was a moment where I was gonna maybe try to do the backstage segments where like they'd all be at like some kind of bar and Jillian would be singing and Jesse James and the Honky Tonk Man would get into some kind of altercation. But I just decided guitar on a pole. Uh, Jillian's there because she can't sing. Honky Tonk Man can't play the guitar. It just works. Jesse James, happy baby face. He'll sing with my baby tonight. Jillian will try to sing with him. Maybe she gets a pump handle slam for her trouble. Yeah, you know how this works.
Road Dogg doing the thing that he always does before he does the pump handle slam.
Yeah, that's
The
yes,
old jiggy.
that is exactly what I'm thinking.
Does Jillian have a thing on her face?
I was thinking, I think we could spare Jillian. I don't think she has the thing on her face.
It makes sense that you pair all three of these up together, then.
Yeah, it's
the
good.
next
Yeah,
match.
it's a good question.
This is for the United States Championship. This was almost a given as soon as I got these two. It's The Miz defending against Roddy Piper. In the weeks leading up to this, you gotta know that the one was on Miz TV, one was on Piper's Pit.
Mm-hmm.
There, Miz is saying he's the most must see, and Piper's going, I kicked Cyndi Lauper in Madison Square Garden. You wouldn't even be thinking about wrestling if it wasn't for me. I was on MTV before MTV was cool. You rode my coat. It fits so perfectly that you have to go with Roddy Piper defeating The Miz to capture the United States Championship. And I would like to see this. I would get a kick out of watching these two have fun on the microphone.
I'm a big fan of both. I would 100% be down for that feud.
But yeah, I'd say that like absolutely thematically and all this stuff that it makes total sense because of the competing talk shows. I think that it would be actually kind of in a way an interesting match because of if they both were doing like heel shtick, but Pipe was doing it as a baby face and Miz was just doing it in his normal heel way, then I think they would actually play off quite well with each other. But I cannot in good conscience endorse it because you paired Roddy Piper with The Miz. So
yeah, I knew when I looked this that it was going to be a tricky one, and I have another match on the second night of the shows that pairs like it's a B story to this plot, but we'll get there pretty soon. Next match,
Tony had the killer bees.
Well, it's not a killer story, so I'm safe there. I also have a cruiserweight title fatal four-way match. It's champion Cedric Alexander defending against Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, and the person I have winning, Ilya LaFleur. Because I've seen Ilya LaFleur, he looks like he's fun, and
yeah.
Ultimately, we know that WWE didn't do a lot with these three, and as I mentioned, with the way Tony booked Jordan Grace, sometimes that takes precedent over your mind when you're booking these things. Of this is how WWE booked them, so this is what they are.
I mean, all four of these in a four-way, yeah, they'd have fun. They would do stuff. Tony Nese is like the tough dude, and Cedric's like in the middle. Ilyo and Arya are more like the lankier side of it. Yeah.
I'm genuinely, I apologize for the ignorance. Are Nese and Arya the current pairing in Ring of Honor?
Yeah,
Are they the premier athletes? That's funny. Now next, this match is the special stipulation of you must win with the 5 count. So as you can see, I'm going Biggie Langston against Mark Henry with Tony Atlas.
Two big meaty men slapping meat. That's what Biggie would want.
Meat. Tony Atlas is there. He's looking for a big meaty man wanting feet, but we got no feet here.
Big meaty men slapping feet.
It's a fun match. It's Biggie. He'll get Mark Henry up in the big ending. Place goes nuts. He gets a 5 count. Everyone's excited. I think
Surprised you didn't book Tony Atlas against Charlotte Flair, where she wins in a big boot or something like that. Or Lash
I should
Legend.
have booked it.
Or Raquel.
Gets like Lash Legend.
But I think that's quite good because like you do the match and you start chanting meat because that's what the current fans do. But then Tony Atlas gets to the apron and they start chanting fee. Great. Then
did you skip a match? Did you mention your 5 hands?
I think he's doing it in a slightly different order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if
you're doing blue ones, you're doing the blue ones.
Yeah, if you're looking at my card, it's the ones that are in blue are
okay. Yeah.
Because originally I just had this as one long show, and I was like, "This is the most top-heavy card I've ever seen in my life." The next match is the one I had the most trouble with because I really couldn't figure out the stipulation. I thought of everything from a no rope barbed wire match to an exploding barbed wire casket death match to what I landed on was the barbed wire Hell in a Cell death match. It's The Undertaker and Sabu. And I think these two would have fucking torn it up. Like, this is just a fun match. If you take Undertaker, like, aura of 98, but wrestling ability of 07, and Sabu from, like, when I got him between that 96-06 period, I immediately was like, this is the one I'm booking for The Undertaker. The suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu, it gets the face of death. And it's bloody. There's barbed wire chairs. There's fire. There's whatever you need, but Sabu's getting thrown off of something through something, and Undertaker's winning the match.
I can't say I would book Undertaker or Sabu. I could see having fun with it, but I can't say I would have booked that in a million years.
It's not like a conventional pairing, but like Undertaker does have a good reputation of going against smaller guys.
Yeah.
And having good matches with them. So I think that, and Sabu would go, like, if Sabu had the opportunity to wrestle The Undertaker on a big show, like, imagine like, some of the stuff that he did when he was wrestling in front of, like, 50 to 100 people in, like, the Hammerstein Ballroom. If he gets to do it in front of, like, thousands with The Undertaker in this kind of glorified barbed wire Hell in a Cell match, he would, well, he would do anything but kill himself, but like, you know, that's the kind of the general vibe of it, of like, oh, you want me to go through the cage? How many times do you want me to go through the cage? Like that many, that sort of attitude to it, rather than anything else.
I'd be like, fuck you, Mick Foley. I want people to talk about me instead.
And like, let's talk about that match for a second. Undertaker has a broken foot and like several cracked ribs going into that match. Yeah, imagine what he would have done here, and I think this is like the peak of fantasy booking. Okay, I could book Undertaker against Andre the Giant. I could just put Sabu in there with Terry Funk and Tommy Dreamer. But I could do this, and this is so much more fun.
I'd be interested to see it, that'd be sure.
And then my World Heavyweight Championship match in the main event of night 1. Stone Cold Steve Austin defending and retaining against AJ Styles.
Not a pairing I would have thought of, but you know what?
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, yeah. What surprise that would surprisingly, I say surprisingly, it would work because it's AJ Styles and Stone Cold, and they'd be able to have great matches with anybody. I mean, Stone Cold like has always paired well with like the more younger athletic wrestlers as well, and also it depends on if we're taking him from the only place we could take him from this one, which is 96, when he was at his
right.
Still
96,
his wrestling
he hasn't
peak.
Broken his neck yet.
Yeah.
So imagine that with the push of 98, and he could still wrestle. Like, I think this would be a phenomenal match, no pun intended. And I think they'd absolutely tear the house down. And that's your main event of night 1 with Stone Cold, you know, celebrating over AJ, but also AJ probably puts him through about 20, 25 minutes of, you know, the paces and really getting Austin to the limit. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this.
This would absolutely have to happen in 1996 because there is no way that post-net break Steve Austin is taking a Styles Clash.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Even that, granted, I have him because it's WWE AJ. I thought the finish could be he goes for the phenomenal forearm and Austin catches him kick in the gut stunner. But look at how AJ's gonna sell that. Like amazing match. I think this would be. But that's my first night. We're gonna kick off night 2 with a grudge match that I thought of calling the blowhard battle, the meeting of the meeting of the assholes. But this is the B story to Piper and The Miz, because it's two other guys who love the mic. It's LA Knight and Mr. Kennedy.
Yep.
And Mr. Kennedy kind of being paired with The Miz is like, the heels, LA Knight working off Piper because they can banter back and forth. And I have LA Knight winning here because he is the bigger star and he's also just a little better than Mr. Kennedy. Crowd goes nuts. Everybody says, yeah. I think they'd actually pair well together.
I got those two on my version of your card too.
Yeah.
It's natural fit, Kennedy and LA Knight.
Yeah. I think if you do some things building up to it, to just have like the Miz and Kennedy in tag team matches with Piper and LA Knight, then I think, yeah, you pair those up pretty well together.
And then next, we've got a match that I don't think anybody would have thought of when looking at the people I drafted, but it's a chain match. And it's Jasper Troy defeating Hercules.
Wouldn't have thought about it, but yeah, they both have the chains.
They both wear the chains. And
that makes sense.
That it's a good way to show up the strength of Jasper Troy. It utilizes Hercules in a way that most people wouldn't think if you're doing a fantasy card in 2026. But this one was a lot of fun and came together really quickly. Because obviously, of course, it was going to be like Jasper Troy, Mark Henry. But no, I like this better. It plays to the strengths.
Hercules is up against the monster.
The monster. The next match we have, it's the WWE. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go in with my Survivor Series because this one's really simple, really cheeky. It's Spirit Squad: Mitch, Kenny, Mikey, Johnny, and Nikki against 5 legends, as they kind of did when they were in WWE to begin with. But it's Lawler, Billy Graham, the Iron Sheik, Tito Santana, and Savio Vega. And yeah, I can't say it without saying that. And I, like Tony, I decided to give the heels the victory here because why not? You have these young upstarts upset these legends, and I think at the end of the day, we can all agree in terms of WWE, one of the bigger stars in this match is Nikki being Dolph Ziggler, and I like the Spirit Squad going over in this sense.
I mean, it's a the pairing of I don't know if we go Iron Sheik and such in them, but yeah, you got
I'm thinking like beloved meme Iron Sheik. Everybody's excited to see him. He's gonna make people humble.
It's not exactly what I would necessarily. Well, I not necessarily do. Like at the end of the day, if you get the Spirit Squad, you're gonna have to put them in a 10-man tag of some instance. So yeah, I guess there's not really much more you can do than pair those ones up.
We'll talk about some other pairing ideas I had when I get to future people on this card. Next match is a Divas Championship match. It's Nikki Bella successfully retaining over Candice Michelle. Full disclosure, I had originally thought maybe I'd do something with Nikki Bella being paired with Lash Legend. Maybe I'd do something with Nikki against Nikki, but I forgot Callum took Nikki Cross. So I have Candice Michelle. These are the two divas, and they kind of pair off just fine. This is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Divas situation like that, yeah.
On the flip side of that, go ahead, go.
So it's never going to be any good, this sort of thing. But yeah, so you just have to try and make the best of a bad situation with it.
On the flip side of that, I'm peering into the future here, because it's my women's title match. And Charlotte Flair retaining over Kendall Gray. I love Kendall Gray. She's gonna be here in this exact spot. I have a knack for these things, people. Bronson Reed, Sol Ruka. I have a track record. I'm good at picking the future. Kendall Gray will be it. I imagine she takes Charlotte Flair to the limit, learns a lot with the veteran, but ultimately Charlotte Flair does get the win because she's still Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I mean, I would very much enjoy this match. Like, I mean, I saw some of the clips from the Kendall Gray Kalani Jordan match from NXT on last night, and it's like, okay, yeah, like these two are just better than most of the women on the main roster. Why are they still here?
1,000%. And I'm telling you, Kendall Gray is it. Here's a fun one. It's Sami Zayn versus the OG Grande Americano with Ivy Nile in his corner, with the stipulation that if Sami Zayn loses, he must join El Grande in his quest against the Luchadors by putting on the mask and becoming El Generico again. I think that's a lot of fun. Sami Zayn will, of course, win, but I like the idea of you can tell a story about, Sami Zayn trying to talk some sense into Gable. Gable being like, I don't understand. You used to be a great luchador. You were El Generico. You understand my plight. I'm trying to bring Lucha Libre to the masses, and you could just have fun with it. And I really believe wrestling needs to be more fun. And also, it doesn't hurt that Chad Gable had the match of the year, and Sami Zayn on any given night could have a fantastic match. But that's what I came up with for these two. And it gets Ivy Nile on the card as well.
It's a slightly different way of saying, yeah, it's not just another Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn match, because we've had plenty of those over the years.
But at the same time, those two in that scenario, they would kill it.
Yeah,
I thought about making him El Generico, but I was like, let me respect the fact that I drafted him as Sami Zayn, but I'll throw in the Generico by doing this. And I like it. All right. Next is a match between Braun Breaker and Andre the Giant. And this one was hard. Because Andre, I was looking at a potential Brock match, potential Taker match, a Cena match. I was thinking about making him just beat the Spirit Squad 5-on-1, and he'd just sit on him. I thought about pairing Breaker with Road Warrior Animal in another match, and I was like, I don't like that. And ultimately, I decided Breaker would be poised for that Ultimate Warrior style push match against Andre, where he'll get some strong strikes against him, take him down with a spear, and ultimately win. But that would be his crowning moment by beating Andre. And I think I like this of all the options I could have had for Breaker.
Do you think Andre's taking that spear?
It would be a light and delicate one. It would not be full throttle, but I think that's a lot of the reason I kept having the Ultimate Warrior comparisons of Andre just holding his fist out, he'll learn, and perhaps Braun Breaker would learn a thing or two in the ring with Andre the Giant. I'm gonna go up to my 6-man tag. This one is Road Warrior Animal and the Hype Bros against Simon Dean and Breezango. I was so sad when I realized that Road Warrior Hawk was an impossibility. And I had basically immediately decided it would be Simon Dean and Breezango against some Road Warrior Animal pairing. I thought about doing the Road War Raiders, but I ultimately went with the Hype Bros. Zack Ryder would have a blast painting his face. Mojo Rawley did paint his face and then never discussed it again. Do you remember that? Do you remember when he painted a blue thing on his face?
I don't remember much about that.
Yeah, nobody does, but I do because I'm sick in the head. They get the win here. it's Road Warriors. It's just baby faces beating a heel team. I wish I could have done something different, but you play the hand you're dealt. And this is like the one of two matches where I'm just like, yeah, play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah, it's a match. Yes.
Yeah, it's very much a match. But also is a match that I would like to see. It's a triple threat ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. It's Penta defending against Finn Balor and Ultimate Winner Jeff Hardy. Why is Jeff Hardy the Ultimate Winner? Because he's Jeff Hardy and he's ageless and people love him and it's a ladder match and he's gonna do things that'll make a whole crowd go crazy. This is fun, right? Like, we're just having fun with this one.
Yeah, I mean it's a great. It'd be very exciting to see these three guys in a ladder match against each other.
There's no way that they
considered-
wouldn't be having a hell of a ladder match. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also considered Demon Finn against Willow. I considered.
No, you did, no, don't even joke about doing that.
You see, then that's why I landed on this. I did consider putting.
I had
Braun
that on
Breaker
my
in
version
here.
of yours. This is Finn Balor against Jeff Hardy. Willow
See?
against Demon. Yeah.
Yeah, see. I also considered putting Braun Breaker in here because, like, he fits fine in this type of environment. But I ultimately decided that I would put the Spirit Squad in the 5-on-5 because if I didn't and I just had Andre sit on them, because that would have been the ending to that match, the other 5 men would have just been in the everyone else battle royal, which Bob Holly was going to win because he had an idea. But that being said, next match, tag team championship match. It's a street fight. It's Public Enemy defending against the new champions, the War Raiders.
Do a high spot for Public Enemy.
This is the play of the hand you're dealt, but like, I didn't get 9 tag teams, Tony.
Yeah, your tag team was your tag teams were very lacking. It seems
Yeah.
like from this one.
And I could have done something like pair AJ with Finn, but I'm not taking AJ out of the match with Austin. And this, if you take Public Enemy in '96, they are on a high spot in the card, and the War Raiders are great. This is very, very 4 big meaty men who are gonna throw each other around with plunder, but none of that matters because we got our 2 night 2 main events, and we're gonna start with the Texas Death Match between Terry Funk and Brock Lesnar. And this was another one like Undertaker Sabu where I had this immediately. I said, I'm doing Brock Lesnar and Texas Death Match with Terry Funk. This is fun.
Yeah. Again, it's one that doesn't spring to mind, but yeah, it would absolutely work because Funk would like work around Lesnar and would utilize every trick in the book, and especially if it's Texas Death where he can utilize weapons and just push himself to the limit, then yeah, he definitely could take advantage of Lesnar in certain scenarios where Lesnar would just. I think it'd be good to tell like the story of like Lesnar doesn't really use weapons much at all. He's just trying to just throw Terry Funk around into submission, but Funk is using the weapons to be the balancing act against him.
And let's also not forget, Terry Funk is a great amateur wrestler. You know, like Terry Funk also knows the holds. Like you could get into that as well. And ultimately, I wanted to do things that weren't expected. Like, did I think about doing Texas Death, Brock Lesnar, Steve Austin? Of course I did. Did I think about doing AJ Styles, Terry Funk? Yeah. But I feel like these combinations are more like this is the exciting thing that you don't think about that you can do because these men have such storied careers. Ultimately, Brock Lesnar's going to win because he's Brock Lesnar. But Terry Funk's not going to go down without a fight. And I think that this would be a phenomenally fun brawl that people will remember, and showcased by Terry Funk is such a special legend. And then finally in the main event, it's the WWE Championship match. It's Hulk Hogan defending and losing to John Cena. My rationale with this because I had mentioned to you guys privately, I was having trouble with Hogan because like you again, I could just book him against Andre and just say, of course you do that. I could have had Mark Henry and Biggie and Jasper Troy beat him up. Of course you do that. But I went with this, and I went with the idea of like it's peak Hogan, it's Hogan '86, it's John Cena as like greatest of all time Cena, and you kind of tell the story of John Cena is a more like sure they're both fan favorites, but John Cena can say I'm more genuine than you. You know, like you kind of get into what we know now about Hogan and talk about how like I'm just you're not genuine. You're an idea, you're marketing, but you're not your name's not even my name is John Cena. You know, you could play around with like I'm genuine. When I turned heel, if you want to play around with this, when I turned heel, people didn't buy it because I'm a genuinely good person. When you come out, people boo you because as much as you put on the facade of I'm all American, I'm a good person, you're just not. And I think that would just be a fun story. And then, of course, you have John Cena and Hulk Hogan have a main event WWE match, and Cena gets the win. But
You don't think that's going to work for him, brother? Yeah.
I think Cena is the one that can say, screw you, I'm John Cena. And I think even if Vince McMahon was making that decision, he'd say, Cena's my favorite wrestler. He never left me. Hogan, you disingenuous brick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that approach would definitely work for like modern day audience. I think it's kind of like counterintuitive to what I would usually do. I think if I did have this match as like a main event, which certainly could be just for the star power, two names involved, I think I would just play it straight, and it's just like Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan against, never give up
Those
John
lawyers.
Cena, and it's
And
just
yeah.
literally the equivalent of Hogan versus Warrior.
And you absolutely could, and that would be a phenomenal story to tell as well, because it's too that then you get into the story of like it's too all American, we're gonna have a good clean fight. And on that night, John Cena's just gonna have a little more of the never give up attitude, but they shake hands and Hogan passes the torch. But either way, I think this is the way to go. I think this was more effective than John Cena slamming Andre or Hogan versus Austin or anything like that. I think this is the move. And overall, like, obviously there was some level of pressure, but I really enjoyed the card that I put together. And
I would say my low on your end, out of all the things, I don't think Andre the Giant and Braun Breaker is the pair that I would put off. Although that's not like it would be the worst match of the card. That's the one where I'm like, yeah, I can't see that one. Even more so than Undertaker Sabu. But like the low end of like actually watching the match, probably Road Warrior Animal and the Hype Bros against Breezango and Simon Dean, or the Survivor Series match, maybe.
Yeah, I mean those would be my personal bathroom breaks. So I had to watch this card.
The everyone else battle royal has an odd melange of people, but that's kind of the whole point. But then you got Lesnar and Funk. You got the promos alone for Cena and Hogan would be a lot of fun. Undertaker and Sabu would be a sleeper thing that would be one of the better things. I like the Piper Miz for sure.
I mean, the best ones are kind of like easy to see, of like Lesnar and Funk, Styles Austin, Taker,
Austin, yeah.
The triple threat Intercontinental title match. I think that I would enjoy the Kendall Gray, Charlotte Flair one when they go together. And then it does, like, obviously there's the obvious ones in terms of ones that aren't great, in terms of the 6-man tag with the Hype Bros and Breezango, and the WWE Tags match is a bit underwhelming with Public Enemy being involved in it. But like you get who you're given at the end of the day, but also I like I probably wouldn't have gone for Nikki Bella, Candice Michelle. I probably would have sacrificed one of them to like a squash match against Lash Legend and done Bella against Rodriguez, or even Bella against Legend, and just sacrificed the other one to a squash match against the one that's remaining.
I definitely could have done that. You're right, absolutely right.
But yeah, it's kind of like, so I wouldn't have done it as, I certainly wouldn't have done it as like a title match, but I understand that like they're the Divas Championship and they're the two most diva people that you have outside of Gillian Hall, who you're right not to put in an actual wrestling capacity. But yeah, other than that, it's like, yeah, as I said, but there's a good mix of like fun mid card and certainly main event level matches, which would be like definitely the top end of things.
Here's my biggest disappointment with your card, though. You have Lash Legend against Raquel Rodriguez, and you're calling it one fall to a finish, not Backlash.
Oh my god, that's that tag team. That's so good.
Backlash.
Team Backlash. There you go.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I'm going to call a little bit of an audible here. I had mentioned before the idea of maybe tossing around my my versions of your cards. I don't think it's worth doing a whole Darkcast about that, all things considered. We talked about our other ideas. I think I can very quickly just say my alternatives, and that could be it, instead of dedicating more than 3 minutes to me, because, fuck me, whatever.
I think you could last longer than 3 minutes.
I do have some similar matches that you guys had on your cards. I'll just go with Rob's because it's the most fresh in everybody's minds. And I'll just put everything up on the screen. Everybody can read it right now. If you guys want to switch over to that section of the thing, feel free to. My version of Rob's card, I've got Diesel against Fake Diesel. I've got Cedric Alexander against Roderick Strong. Can't see anything wrong with those two going into the ring. Which one's going to hit the other one in the back with that move first. Similarly to your Sami Zayn and Grande Americano thing, I've got Elio LaFleur against OG El Grande Americano. So the
Definitely
idea, of course, similar in that way. I do have Honky Tonk Man against Jesse James. Didn't think about Jillian Hall being thrown in there because I have Jillian against Lash Legend just getting squashed. I've got Kendall Gray against Ivy Nile in like a more mat-based match. I have Candice against Nikki, same as you've got. And I had put Charlotte against Raquel, and I was like, I don't really like that, but at the same time, whatever. Like, I didn't put a whole lot of time into these cards. I was just like, let me see what I would come up with after like a few minutes. I've got Brock Lesnar against Braun Breaker, for obvious reasons. Hulk Hogan against Superstar Billy Graham, who's the better Hulk Hogan, essentially.
I like that.
AJ Styles against Penta. I guess I threw them in there without even thinking about that, but hell yeah, Styles against Penta. I'm gonna have fun with that. Undertaker against Andre. Wow, really innovative, Tony. I've got my triple threat, which you had mentioned before that you almost did something similar of like Mark Henry, Big E, and Jasper Troy. You were saying, Mark Henry against Jasper Troy, and you have Big E against Mark Henry. So I was like, I'll just throw them all in there. That's my big man buffet, essentially. I had Austin and Funk, Terry Funk. Texas Death Match of some kind. I didn't bother to write out like Texas Death Match and stuff. At a 4-way, I think it was, for the hardcore title of Kama and Sabu and Bob Holly and Tommy Dreamer. I put, because I could not think of anything with these people, Arya Daivari and Iron Sheik in a tag team against Tony Atlas and Tony Nese. Definitely
thought about Arya Daivari being with Iron Sheik.
Yeah. I put Barry Windham and Hercules against Public Enemy. Didn't have much going on there. I got a 6-on-6 or a 7-on-6 or whatever. I didn't finish it, but I kind of thought the idea of Spirit Squad and Simon Dean and Matt Stryker is their like manager, I guess.
Oh, it's the coach, the teacher, and the cheerleading squad. Okay.
Yeah, basically,
you could either have one member of. There was always one member of the Spirit Squad that basically never wrestled, right?
Mitch, who I just realized the other day actually was part of Tough Enough. Mitch never wrestled. I think he had one-on-one match, and get this, it was with Rick freaking Flair.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Squad and Simon Dean mixed together makes a lot of sense to me. And Matt Stryker just being like he could be the teacher manager thing or something against literally a bunch of people that didn't have anything. So Hype Bros, Breezango, Savio Vega, and Brooklyn Brawler. I put Tama with Animal, and I called him either Road Warrior Savage or Road Warrior Wild. And I was like, fucking, I don't know, those against the War Raiders. Mr. Kennedy against LA Knight. What you've got, Finn Balor against Jeff Hardy. We already talked about. Amazing. Tito Santana against The Miz. That's a solid mid-card feud going on right there. I put Sami Zayn and Jerry Lawler together. Can't imagine that feud wouldn't kick ass.
That feud would be a lot of fun.
And I put John Cena and Roddy Piper.
Also a lot of fun.
Oh, and Callum's card. Oh, God.
I can see where you're going with a lot of this. You played it safe way more than I did with like Undertaker Andre and
you got some better ideas than I do for sure. Like, I don't like my Flair and Rodriguez thing. Like Flair and Kendall Gray's much better.
And I mean, that's the beauty of this kind of stuff. We just come up with different ideas, and sometimes, I like seeing what you would have done. But overall, a lot of similar ideas to mine. Like, just, oh, fuck, what do I do with the Spirit Squad? Here's all these other people.
Yep. You got to put Spirit Squad in some kind of 5-man. And then I threw Simon Dean in there. And then I threw Matt Stryker in there. And I was like, I'm not interested in Savio Vega versus Matt Stryker in a separate thing if I could just throw them in the other thing and all. My version of Callum's card, some of the similar things. I got tripped up a lot with the, what you mentioned before about like the Lince Dorado and the Lucha Dragons and the Los Garza crew. Because I had Kevin Thorne, Boogeyman, Goldust, The Ascension, and all. I tried to book The Ascension as like NXT Ascension against the Usos, but that left me with Junkyard Dog and Special Delivery Jones as a tag team against Los Garza separately. And because I couldn't pair Junkyard Dog and Special Delivery Jones with Kevin Thorne, Boogeyman, and Goldust. So it's like, it's probably Kevin Thorne, Boogeyman, and The Ascension and Goldust and against Lince Dorado and Lucha Dragons and Los Garza, and then Junkyard Dog and Special Delivery Jones against the Usos. But I like your Rocky Maivia and Ricky Saints thing much better.
So yeah, I went to search to see whether Junkyard Dog and SD Jones had ever teamed together in some part of their careers, and I couldn't find anything that saying they did it extensively. And then I just because I did consider putting them together, but then my mind just went, I can't just pair two black guys together because that's all I can think about what the only similarities they really have. So I decided I'd set myself a rule of like I can't just pair people up like that, and then I just paired all the Mexicans together, and then that's what I instead.
Well, I also had in that kind of mix Tatanka and Aldo Montoya, and then Elias Sampson and Blackjack Mulligan, and I was like, there's got to be some combination of this that like maybe it's like Tatanka and Aldo become more like goofy and they're paired with like the Kevin Thorne Ascension side of things, or I was like, at some point it would be some kind of combination of those things or whatever. I threw Miles Bourne and Nikolai Volkov together because I didn't have anything for either of those two to do.
Oh, I got a storyline for it. So Nikolai Volkov is doing the Russian national anthem, but Miles Bourne doesn't stand for it because he can't hear what he's doing, and then Volkov I can't wait till he goes to the main roster and every single feud he's involved with.
It's just that he loses a match because the bell rang and he's got a submission on, and the referee's trying to tell him to stop, and he didn't know. So then the referee's like, "Well, you didn't listen to the count." On the women's division, I put Nikki Cross against Alicia Fox, the two crazy people against each other. I put Alexa Bliss against
there were plenty
AJ
of crazy
Lee.
people on this one.
Yeah. Well, then I threw in Victoria and Trinity as a tag team against Lana and Marlena. Lana and Marlena. Marlana, kind of. And I threw Leilani Kyan as a special guest referee because I was like, I don't know what to do with these. I did a 4-way. You had Shawn Legacy and Uriah Connors, and you had Adam Rose and who's the other one?
Aldo Montoya.
Aldo Montoya. And I switched it up to be, instead of Aldo, I've got Noam Dar, and instead of I got the Davari. So it's Davari, Noam Dar, Uriah Connors, and Sean Legacy. Fatal 4-way. Cruiserweight. Yeah, same thing. I like your Punjabi prison thing. I decided Ultimate Warrior against Psycho Sid.
In a Punjabi prison, yeah, that sounds
Punjabi prison. Those promos, man.
If you remember the first all-time roster card we did, I
Did we
booked
do
that exact match with that exact idea of those promos, man.
Yeah, just Ultimate Warrior speaking a bunch of nonsense. Psycho Sid speaking a bunch of nonsense. They both stand next to each other.
Oh, didn't Ultimate Warrior versus Sid Justice ever happen?
It would have, but Sid leaves. Warrior comes back to confront him at Mania.
So I thought that would be what would happen after. Yeah, I thought that would be what would happen after Mania 8. So,
and then ironically, Sid comes back in '96 to replace Warrior because they're interchangeable.
In a perfect world, we get that promo. I had you had your Eugene, Coco Beware, Duke Dumpster Drosy, etc. I had those three and Adam Rose together because I was like, okay, they're all the Rosebuds and stuff. And they could probably be the Rosebuds, like buddies, against my group of a bunch of jerk characters: Crush, Mike Knox, The Culling, and Butch Reed. Basically the same idea.
That's 5 on 4. That's 5 on 4.
Oh shit, it is. All right. So then, oh god.
It's the handicapped match. Oh no, then you.
Well, as you know, like there's like 45 Rosebuds out there, so it's even.
So then take one of the people out of the big man buffet and throw them onto the babyface team. So probably take Eric Rowan out.
Yeah.
Because it's Eric Rowan, King Kong Bundy, Great Khali, Rhino, and Vader. I really wanted to figure out something else for Vader. And then you go ahead and do Vader and Samoa Joe. And I'm like, fuck me, it's right there. Oh my God, that would have been so much better. Because I have Vader in this and Samoa Joe against Cody Rhodes. I do think Cody and Samoa would be really good. But yeah, I do like that Vader and Samoa Joe match. I got Ricky Steamboat against Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Can't say anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a great match, yeah.
I got the three jerks of Paul Orndorff, Chris Masters, and Dino Bravo against the three kind of cool dudes, cooler at least, of Elijah Burke, Ricky Saints, and Orlando Jordan. Not my favorite match. Whatever. And I paired Rocky Maivia, or The Rock, with Randy Savage, and I paired Shawn Michaels with Logan Paul.
Yeah, the last match is sacrilege, I think.
I mean, Logan Paul up against Rob Van Dam was another one, because I got Rob Van Dam against Apollo Crews. I forgot to mention that. RVD against Logan Paul? That would work?
I can see that one, yeah. I prefer to put him further down the mid-card, because I'd rather do... Like, the ones that I had options with, like, Michael's, obviously I don't want to go and stick a Steam Bad because I just found out that they just never had a match for each other. I thought, okay, well, I've got to put that on the card if I have the opportunity. And then the other one that immediately came to mind was Samoa Joe. The other one to pair with Shawn Michaels. Obviously, I could do Savage, and because we never saw, like, main event Shawn Michaels against main event Randy Savage. But I feel like I wanted to make sure, because when you do enough of these cards, because how many fucking fantasy cards we done, like between us probably hundreds at this point, or like maybe not that much, but like certainly dozens between us. So you kind of want to try and avoid running into the same matches that you potentially do. So Michael's a Steamboat. I'd never ever had to eat both of them on my card before. So like, yeah, I'm gonna do that if I have the opportunity to. But then if that didn't work out, then Michael's Joe, Michael's Cody. I didn't want to do Michael's The Rock because I definitely have done Michael's and The Rock at some point. I'm sure at least one of us have done that at some point because that's another one of those matches that just never happened.
That was one of the ones that I was thinking about too, like Michael's Rock, and then put like Cody and Savage, and then Joe versus, and I was like, oh, maybe Joe versus Paul, and then like all that. If I gave this more thought, because I specifically gave myself like, I think it might have been like half hour or something for like, okay, let me try to see what I can do with these cards. Yeah. And looking at the cards that you guys have certainly would be like, all right, if we did like their ultimate versions where we all paired things off, I'm like, yeah, I would switch them as shit immediately. Like I Rob Van Dam versus Logan Paul would be way more of a thought to get the Vader and Samoa Joe and the Cody Rhodes against Shawn Michaels, maybe, or something like that. Like, yeah, lots of variety. And I like some of your ideas and some of Rob's ideas way better than mine. So
good. So that's a good generations randomizer thing. Again, the randomizers, they're kind of like sometimes horrible in the moment, because I think me and Tony were going through it a lot during the thing. But like, it does lead to some more interesting thought processes, because of it's just a bunch of people that you're not selecting yourself, and you're not thinking about it with every pick. You're just having to force yourself into, what do I do in this scenario?
I guaranteed I would not have had the Samoan Wrecking Crew against the Dominators if I would have been sitting there picking specifically, because I wouldn't have been like, I got to make sure I get the Sultan. I got to make sure I get Ahmed Johnson, So yeah, fun mock draft leading into a fun matchmaker, all side of the fantasy booking elements of those. And, if you guys enjoy these things, obviously let us know. Let us know what your favorite cards were, what your least favorite cards were, what your favorite matches were. What do you think would have been the snooze fests or the parts that would have been the bathroom breaks, whatever it might be. Hit us up, flex your creative muscles too. So let me know if you've got a better idea of, like, what would you do with Rob's card? What would you do with mine? And what would you do with Callum's? And if you got any other ideas of, like, gimmicky, fun ways to play around with the mock draft and fantasy booking side of things or something like that, always hit us up. Always taking different ideas in mind and keeping that in the back burner for future episodes. We didn't have this planned as like a thing to be like, all right, at the beginning of the year, when it comes down to June, let's do this or something. But, spontaneously that stuff happens. And I always find these as like some of the most fun things we do on the show. So hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Make sure that you show your support in all the different ways that you can, and actually let us know that you are doing that and you're enjoying it and all. Make sure you're following everything under anthonymango.com for all of my links. Follow Rob and Callum too.
Yep, follow me everywhere at Dude Fleece, and check out Insider Gaming.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky Weekmeister 14. Check out the power rankings every Saturday on smark.com, where I rank the WWE Superstars based on their previous week's performances, and follow the Fantasy League, which will do another update for how things are looking on the hot tags. But you can follow along yourself and see all the points are over at www.fantasyleague.com.
And that'll do us in for this matchmaker. Thank you again for listening, everybody, and we will probably pop up next with the hot tags, although I haven't figured out exactly what we're going to do for the Darkcast, especially because I just completely abandoned the idea of making this part of the Darkcast on a whim like that. But we got a couple weeks to figure that out before the end of the month, and I don't know, maybe we'll end up just doing one of those Darkcasts where we're just like, you know what, let's just start recording and see what happens or something. Or maybe we have some gimmicks in mind. If you have anything in mind, you let us know. What would you like to see for the Darkcast tier, which you, of course, can only get if you are on the Darkcast tier on the YouTube and Patreon side of things. But hot tags are coming up, and we also are going to try to do a watch-along of the 1996 King of the Ring. So that'll probably be next week. Then the week after, where we got the pay-per-view onslaught. So 4 pay-per-views happening that weekend. A lot of pay-per-view predictions. So stay tuned for that too. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.